Welcome back to ONNtv. Now in studio, I'm joined by the Algoma Public Health Inspector Gary Leith. Gary, how are you doing today?
Not too bad, Alex.
Thank you. So throughout this whole summer, we've experienced spells of extreme heat, then it cools off, extreme heat and cools off, and even some of these extreme cases of the heat have caused some people to be hospitalized, fatal incidences even. So we're bringing you in here to kind of help inform the public of things they can do to help stay warm. Because I think you were saying earlier that this weekend's expected to get pretty hot, correct?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it is supposed to be a little bit above normal for Sault Ste. Marie area. It's not only been across the Sault, but across the province and even across Canada with some above average temperatures, especially during the summertime. It's been a little bit unbearable in some cases. Some of those that like the heat are able to enjoy it a little bit more because our long winters that we have, but others just have to take a little bit more precautions with the day-to-day stuff that they do, just to make sure that they are being safe when they are doing activities.
Of course. And when it comes to our city specifically, have you seen how the heat's impacted any certain people through your time with the Algoma Public Health?
Well, just in my day-to-day experience, I noticed especially when it is unbearably hot, when you go outside, it's quite common to not see as many people as you would. A lot more air conditioners are running. A lot more people are indoors trying to take shelter. We hope that we get our messages out there too to invite the public to areas if they do not have air conditioning units within their own homes, to go down to our local shopping centers, even our rinks, our libraries, where they have not designated cooling centers, but at least areas that have air conditioning.
Places
so
where you can cool off if you need.
Yeah, take a reprieve from the heat.
Right, and there was a press release released by you guys on your website to a few different tips and tricks, things like I've got here: wear some loose clothes, as you said, spend some time in the AC, cool showers and baths, drink water, not so much alcoholic beverages and anything else. Would there be any other tips you think would be good for the people to know about to stay cool and beat the heat this summer?
There are many things that you can do, whether or not they're personal activities, going to the beach and taking just a swim, just getting into the water and actually having a cool down would be good. Definitely drinking a lot of fluids is important. We do emphasize drinking water over alcoholic beverages and other types of high sugar products. I've seen some studies where it says we do need salt and sugar in our diet as well. So if you are taking juices, you can dilute them with water just to get a higher water content into your system. We want to make sure that you are keeping hydrated. Heat stroke and other heat-related illnesses are a priority, especially during these high heat time frames. So.
And what about the people that can't necessarily go into a place that has an AC, like your athletes, your construction workers that are outside? What are some things that they should keep in mind while doing the physical activity that they do?
The biggest thing that they have to keep in mind for, and anyone actually participating or watching, is just being mindful that it is hot. So your productivity is not going to be essentially there, especially if you're working out in a field where you have to work during the hours of, I believe, 11 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon. You might want to stagger your day, take more breaks, take more water with you if you're going to a job site. If you are going to participate outside in any type of activity, just make sure that you are being cautious with the things that you do. Signs and symptoms of heat stroke, exhaustion, tiredness, especially in younger children, we want to make sure that they are being cared for, not to push yourself to the limits in the middle of a high humidex day, and maybe to plan some activities that would probably be more of a cooler in nature, would be smart during these time frames.
And let's take it to, I'm not sure if you can comment on this, but there has been cases where animals and children actually get left behind in cars on warm days. Can you speak on that and maybe something we can do to remember that, hey, it's hot outside, they can't be in the car as long as we may think?
And that's just a tragedy that happens in our day and age. You should never be leaving children or pets in a car with the windows up, regardless if it's 36 degrees out with the humidex or 20 or even 13 degrees. It's not appropriate. We should be making sure that we're caring for our animals and our young children, especially. It's very tragic that does happen.
And when it comes to heat stroke, is there any long-term or short-term effects that people should be aware about to say, you know what, those are actually some things I would much rather avoid?
It's mainly short-term effects, so it's that exhaustion, tiredness, dizziness. In some cases, if you don't have enough water, if you're too heated, you can have a fainting spell, things like that. Long-term, our bodies will eventually adjust to the temperature. That's why our Northern Ontario heat warnings are a little bit different than Southern Ontario and the extreme Southern Ontario, such as Windsor and Detroit area, based on the fact that their climate is substantially different than ours here in Sault Ste. Marie, and especially the Algoma my
It's
region.
exactly why 15 degrees in the fall feels so much colder than 15 degrees in the spring.
Correct, yeah.
Exactly. So where can people go if they are experiencing some heat stroke? Would you recommend them going to the hospital, or should they stay inside, cool off, and do what they can before they take it to that extra step?
If you ever feel that you do need to seek medical attention, we do always have the services of 911. If you have to, you can always reach out to, I believe it's the Ontario Nurse Practitioners line. You can call. Big thing for people that are alone, especially having family members or other friends check in on them. The chronically or even acute ill and immunocompromised are at risk, especially people living alone do need to have such a little bit more support system. If you want more information on heat-related warnings and information, you can visit our website, algomapublichealth.com, and we should be able to provide you with more services to the public.
Yes, and I was saying that's where you will be able to find the press release they did have with all the different tips and tricks that you can do to help you through this summer heat. Now, Gary, I would like to thank you once again for joining us, and I'll thank you for watching.